Yeah, it's called self-replication theory. This it's literally just like how human perspective, all human perspective works. That's what I was going to get at when I was talking about feudalism. Kind of got completely off, but it was a good conversation either way. But there's Deleuze, a French philosopher, who like pointed this out and really did a good job of disconnecting our understanding of that. Of like, we only see things, we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. We see things only through the lens of the experience that we have. So if we look at anything that we observe it through the lens of our own experience. So we can't understand something else happening that isn't like, if something comes, it will only be understood as a threat, right? You have to be able to realize that's why like that reactionaryism is like the trying to convince you that like because the de-dollarization and that type of thing, like that's bad, right? Like that's the world, the Western media wants us to believe that's like that means it's bad, that's bad for us. That means like bad things for us and our kids and our future is if de-dollarization, when it's like, no, that is good. That is what will keep humanity going, is if our system collapses. So it's to understand it through this idea of like, you have to like embrace a death drive, but not actually as a death drive, but as like the willingness to go there because of how much we inflicted that same death drive everywhere else. That it's like, okay, now it's our turn, right? And that willingness to go there, once we actually go there, is when the change will happen. Because that's literally like how evolution works. It's like once you're literally willing to die to better yourself, to better something that's bigger than you, that's when the change happens. And that's the thing, is like we're already headed towards that. That's the fact that we're even having this conversation, even at fucking as late as it is the four people that are here listening to it. The fact that this conversation is being had proves it, because why else would we? This is how consciousness works. Is the question is being bagged, and yeah. Well, it's like people are afraid of change if change is the only constant, right? Because people are always reacting to their conditions. Change isn't like some external thing that comes. Change is always happening. Think about it that way. Like change is always occurring. And even when it's happening in this minute level, it's still happening. It just takes some time for us to fully understand it. There's a there's a term, Lenin quote, there are years where nothing happens, and there are months where decades happen. And that's it. Like your perception can only be, so much can happen where you're not realizing it because you're only seeing it through this small lens, where there was so much else happening on the periphery that you just didn't allow yourself to see. And then someone comes and points it out to you, and that's, the paradigm has been completely shattered. And we go through that process. That used to be like something where it'd be like 1964, 1970, 1978, 1982, right? Like that used to be something that would happen within like a process of years. Now that literally happens in like days. Every day, that type of like consciousness evolution happens, where we consciously, as like, think about it as like the state, like our collective state, as like a human, as humanity, this our collective conscious as collective beings beyond ourselves, because that exists. that it 100% exists. Like it's proven. But once you're able to that understanding of like how our like existence is beyond there's a humanity there, like there's something that's in us that is driving us, that is literally our evolutionary pull. And when humans or when any species feels threatened, and they are like they acknowledge the threat, they have now faced the threat, they acknowledge the threat, and they know that they have to do something to stay alive, that's when the change happens. So it's like the every person needs to come to this process to realize that like what they are doing, if they continue to do it, will lead to the destruction of themselves and everything. And we've already came to that realization quite a while ago. At least a small group of people did. It's just now it's like the Fibonacci sequence. It's taking longer, but every once in a while we do have this collective like odometer shift where it's like, yeah, we are reaching somewhere. We're going somewhere. And that's why it seems sometimes like we're going backwards, because it's made to make it seem like we're going backwards, because we wouldn't be looking backwards if we weren't moving forward, if that makes sense. The road underfoot is certain to become the road behind.